Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The ICC court in The Hague issued an arrest warrant for Mr. Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of the Jewish state Israel. As well for Mr. Gallant, the former Defense Minister of Israel. We have here a few statements coming and a few reactions. We're going to discuss what do you think will happen. Do you think that Netanyahu will ever be arrested and handed to the ICC court in The Hague? Remember, put that in contrast with how Americans reacted, the government of the United States of America reacted to Putin's ICC arrest warrant issued. No, the Americans reject this as fundamentally wrong. So we're going to find out who owns the United States of America little by little. And I don't know exactly who, but maybe we can find out. So let's look over these, 7 articles here. The first one. Oh, including the fact that Israel is preparing to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. With whose weapons? Right. Russia Today, 21st of November. ICC issues arrest warrant for Netanyahu. Prosecutors in The Hague are also seeking the detention of Israel's former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The International Criminal Court, ICC, in The Hague announced on Thursday that it has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant over alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity linked to the Gaza conflict. All right, the court accuses Netanyahu and Gallant of using starvation as a method of warfare, alleging they deliberately deprived Gaza's civilian population of essential supplies including food, water, and medicine. Prosecutors claim there was no obvious military necessity for such actions which amount to violations of international law. Both Israeli politicians could face arrest if they traveled to any of the 123 countries that are signatories to the ICC Rome Statutes. So what do you think this would be? What do you think? Do you think that he will be arrested? Well, this is not to discuss if there were war crimes or not. I let others who can talk freely on YouTube about those issues. I can only talk about those issues on Rumble. So here what we have, do you think that he will be arrested? I don't think he's going to be arrested. That's my assessment. But let's see what these guys say about it, okay? Let's go to the next article because you're going to have the American reaction about this. Remember, they're all having a how they call it, a collective jerk-off session when the ICC, the same court that was hailed as fantastic when the court issued an arrest warrant for Putin. They all were, let's have a group fuck here, right? That's what they did. I know that. Okay, let's move on. Sputnik. ICC issues arrest warrant for Netanyahu, Gallant for alleged war crimes in Gaza. Russia Today. This country, United States of America, says U.S. fundamentally rejects ICC arrest warrant for Netanyahu. Why fundamentally? There's a fundamental what? The Hague-based court has accused the Israeli Prime Minister of war crimes. Washington is opposed to the International Criminal Court. Now, the United States is not a signatory of ICC. Neither is Russia. But anyway, it opposes the International Criminal Court decision to issue warrants for the arrest of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The White House announced on our White House. The Hague. So, do you want to find the truth? Or only selectively? Only selectively. Now, when I, as an American, a patriot American, nationalistic American, see this done by the US government, what am I supposed to think? So, if Gigi's father rapes someone, right there, warrant for arrest for Gigi's father, but if someone else's father commits the same kind of rape, or is just suspected. No arrest warrant is fundamentally, we reject that. Don't you want to find out the truth? Don't you want to go and start an investigation? These guys were all about Putin, but here Netanyahu and Gallant, no. Why? And I'm not done. Wait. The Hague, and I'm quoting the White House, our White House, supposedly. The US fundamentally reject the court's decision, I wonder why, to issue arrest warrants for senior Israeli officials. Okay, why? A spokesperson for the National Security Council said on Thursday, and I'm quoting, "We remain deeply concerned by the prosecutors' rush to seek arrest warrants and the troubling process errors that led to the decision. How do you know the errors? You're not even involved in this, are you? And then prosecutors rush. How long do you wait? After 1,000 pumps on the victim or under 5 pumps? How many pumps you wait? And remember, they issued the warrant for Putin after how many years? I think 2. So anyway, you look at the scale. We can't talk about that here on YouTube. And he says, the ICC does not have jurisdiction of this matter. Neither it had for Putin. But you didn't say that. You didn't say that on Putin's issue. The spokesperson added. They said he must be arrested. Now, the EU has taken a different position on warrants from Washington. The bloc's Foreign Policy Commissioner Josep called the ICC warrants non-political and said the member states should respect and implement them. He is gonna go, Borrell. The Netherlands will act on the arrest warrants and fully comply, I don't believe that, with the ICC. Dutch Foreign Minister said. The French Foreign Minister said the warrants were, and I'm going in line with the ICC status, but that arresting Netanyahu if he comes to visit would be legally complex. Why is that? Italy, Sweden, Norway and Ireland have also made statements in support of the ICC, expressing faith in its standards, independence and integrity. Meanwhile, Israeli officials have denounced the warrants and accused the ICC of blah blah blah. The ICC, and I'm quoting, has chosen the side of terror and evil over democracy and freedom. And that's you, huh? And turned the very system of justice into a human shield for Hamas crimes against humanity. Okay, this guy saying again, Israel rejects with disgust, why not with vomit, the absurd, it's just absurd, and false actions leveled against it by ICC. Netanyahu says his national security minister Itamar Ben-Gvir called the court, and I'm quoting, anti-Semitic through and through. All right, now, nothing will happen. If you read the Old Testament, that for this guy is like a law, you read the Talmud, when they talk about justice, they talk about justice among them. Just look, it's a 2-tier justice system in the Talmud and the Old Testament, for them and for the Gentiles. So look about that. They can legally do something to them that would punish if it would be done among its groups. That's a selective kind of justice. So that is, you don't consider the other side as being equal to you. Yeah, you can cheat the goyim, but if you do the same thing to one of yours, you're going to be punished by the law. So what does that tell you? Maybe this. So they will never, the Israelis will never give one of them to be judged by foreign blah blah blah. Why? I just told you so. But the other baboons do that, like the baboons, sorry to say it, in fucking Serbia when they gave Milosevic to the same garbage. Remember that one? I wanted to go to Serbia and punch people in the nothing. I just wanted to see them and caress them and hug them. All right, so let's move on. Move on to the next one. Who's the United States working for? For the people of the United States of America. U.S. fundamentally rejects ICC's arrest warrant for Netanyahu, Gallant, White House says. We got that one. Now, Trump ally calls for U.S. to sanction ICC. So you know who this guy is working for. The Hague-based court is, and I'm quoting, a dangerous joke and must be restricted. I don't remember him being so straight about Putin, wasn't he? He said Putin on 2 occasions, Putin must be taken out. Remember? U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham has called for Washington to slap sanctions on the International Criminal Court, ICC, for issuing arrest warrants for another country's prime minister and former defense minister. So that is, my country should get involved for another country with the international court, whatever that is, international court. Why? I'm not a signatory. They are not signatories. Why do I care? Why do I care if that, let's say, convenience store or let's say grocery store says if that guy steps over there, we're gonna, I don't know, take his money because he owes us something. And I don't go to that store. I don't, but I will stay over there, stand behind the other country. You understand that the United States of America is an isolated country and it's in the leash, on the leash of someone else. And they tell us Putin is isolated. It's a big world out there. 193 countries. You can't keep people for long with threats, blackmail, regime change, and bombardments. This is how the Al Capone's plantation runs. People will always fight that. Will always. Now the weak people will just stay there. But there are always some good people, strong people that would fight that. And sometimes they succeed to pull out from the plantation. And maybe go to the plantation's house and get the plantation owner and with some tortures, I don't know, start a, how do you call that, fire in the, that's it. So this guy, who is he working for? He wants my country to sanction an international institution for another country. Why do you even care? Why do you even bother? Is your ally? But when that happens to someone else, you hail it. This is how we are used, and then we are given warnings by our State Departments. Don't travel to that country, American citizens. Don't travel to that country. Don't travel. It's dangerous to be an American in those countries. Why is it dangerous to travel? Not because you did something, even though you voted, supposedly. You validated the system of the guys selected for you to vote for. All right. So when you go to, you can't go over there. You didn't do anything. They did it for you. So you should grab those guys by the balls and say, okay, why can't I go over there? And the reason is because their government is bad and their people are propagandized by their governments, which are evil. We tell you that. And if you go over there, they might have a problem with you because they hate your values because you're an American. Yeah, man, I'm American. Yeah, America. God damn. All right, so let's see what this imbecile said. In a post on X later today, Graham, a Republican senator from South Carolina who is an ally, and wrote like this, that ICC acted in the most absurd and irresponsible manner possible. In the most absurd and irresponsible manner possible. There's no other thing more than that. Nothing. This is a cocksucker right there. By going after the Israel politicians. He's just going after the Israel politicians. And I'm going, while there is a serious cloud of allegations hanging over the prosecutor who sought these warrants. The court is a dangerous joke. It is now time for the U.S. Senate to act and sanction this irresponsible body, Graham said. According to the lawmaker, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, which is a Jew, is Jewish, okay, that's Israel, Schumer needs to pass the bipartisan legislation that came from the House sanctioning the court for such an outrage, and U.S. President Biden needs to sign it. Do you remember Pontius Pilatus or Pon Pilat with Jesus Christ in the New Testament, in the Bible, that so many people, all that. Do you remember? The Romans killed Jesus because why? Because they wanted. Remember, that guy wanted to let Jesus go, but it was some others who, with Pilatus' hands and the Roman authority, did it for them. Look at Europe the same way. When you see Putin and you see the Western Europe and the Americans, the same way. The Americans are, let's say, Pontius Pilatus, and let's say, not Putin, but, the Russian, the Europeans are the same. And someone else behind want this to happen. Who's they? I suspect it's just the frogs outside. The frogs barking. All right, let's go and see what the Europeans are saying. European states vow to arrest Israeli Prime Minister. Nobody will arrest Prime Minister. And let me give you this from the get-go, which is not get-go. If Netanyahu dies tomorrow, or if Netanyahu is arrested tomorrow by a, miracle, nothing will change. Nothing will change. It's just one out of many. The whole thing is based on a promise by an, in my head, imaginary entity, right? And that is because that imaginary entity promised someone else's, actually it's that entity's land, someone else's lands to his chosen. This is the fundamental right of these guys who claim those territories. That's it. That's it. And how can you fight this? Can you logically debate this? No logic of any kind. So it's not with Netanyahu or not Netanyahu doesn't really matter. So we have here several Western states, they just said it, but they will not do it. They will be smacked by you know who. It says here, Italy, Canada, UK to arrest Netanyahu to comply with ICC ruling. I don't think, maybe, first he's not going to travel there. Canada will not do it. UK will not do it. Are you crazy? This guy's right under the grip of these guys. Nothing will happen. Israel responds to ICC arrest warrant for Netanyahu. The Hague-based court has turned the justice system into a human shield for Hamas crimes, end quote. And so on. And the last one, Israel, on the other hand, is preparing to attack an independent sovereign evil, Iran nuclear facilities. What do you think will happen? Is this an Israeli warplane or is it an F-16? Oh yeah, they bought it from us. Okay, that's us. All right. So the Israeli authorities reached a consensus at all levels of the security system and political echelon on the need in self-defense to attack Iran's nuclear facilities. Israeli news portal Walla reported, citing a high-ranking source. What if I come with my unnamed high-ranking source? Would that matter? No, YouTube will take care of me. Israel also allegedly has the technological capability to carry out such an attack with whose help? The report said on Thursday, Israel will not allow Iran to obtain nuclear weapons. The source said, okay, so they protect all of us because those guys are crazy, right? Economic sanctions against Tehran serve only as a deterrent and are not intended to eliminate Iran's nuclear project, the source added. So why should the United States have nuclear weapons since they dropped 2 atomic bombs on civilian targets, Hiroshima and Nagasaki? I tell you why, because they can. That's the reason. Last week, the Axios news portal reported Israel attack on Iran that took place on late October destroyed an active top-secret nuclear weapons research facility of the Perchil military complex and affected the country's capability to resume nuclear arms research. The destroyed facility reportedly was a part of Iran Ahmad nuclear weapons program, which Tehran is believed to have halted in 2003. In late October, the Israel Defense Forces said that they have struck military targets in Iran in response, self-defense, to October 1st attacks on the Jewish state. Media reported the Israeli attack on Iran was limited to military assets and did not target nuclear or oil facilities. Now they tell us this, that means they lied. So should you believe them again? No, unless you're a baboon, and you're not. Why? Because you're here with me, and we're not baboons, okay? Why? Because we say so. We identify as non-baboons. So first, Netanyahu will not be arrested. Netanyahu will die in peace and nice like Ariel Sharon. Remember? I can't use the Beirut. Was it Beirut? The butcher of Beirut, it was called. He died in peace and so on. I don't know if he died in peace. Supposedly he had a little stroke that he never came out of it. Now, I don't know if that was a successful stroke or it wasn't, or strike. That's one, and then many like that. Nobody's going to arrest Netanyahu. Netanyahu will arrest these guys. Netanyahu is going to arrest the French, the Norwegians, the British, the Canadians, the Americans. And Graham wants money. He wants to be re-elected, deeply re-elected. With whose money? Donors. No, because we have this system of campaign donations. But we love democracy. We protect democracy. That kind of democracy, fuck it. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.